Hello everybody, Cal Banyan, Cal Banyan's Hypnosis Center on calbanyan.com, and I'm back with a really special program today because I'm going to be interviewing someone who is a five-pather, who's also a nurse. And before I get into all that, let me invite you to go to calbanyan.com right now and subscribe to our video programs. We've got hundreds and hundreds of free videos for you, about 20 minutes each. And what do? They give you nuggets to help you be a better hypnotist, nuggets that help you to build your practice. All right, let me tell you who I'm going to be doing today. Instead of a regular co-host, I'm going to be interviewing my trusty clipboard right here, Penny Chiasson. And she is a certified five-pather. She is also a trainer for the programs that I teach, I've created, and she's in Mississippi. We call it CFI, which stands for Certified Professional Hypnosis Instructor. So she's able to teach my 10-day course, the one that, enables you to become five-path certified. She's board certified by the National Guild of Hypnotists. She has an online pain management hypnosis course for hypnotists. She's presented at the National Guild of Hypnotists convention. Has worked in the healthcare profession for 25 years and has been a nurse anesthetist for 13 years. So she's in the medical realm, she deals with pain, and now she's blended that together with hypnosis to do pain management. She's had 2 hypnosis practices, one in Connecticut and now one in Mississippi, where she is both doing hypnosis sessions and also teaching my certification course. She tells me that she's an introvert by nature, but it's been the pursuit of her passion in hypnosis is to help her to kind of come out and be more outspoken, in her words. Now, I've always found her to be outspoken, but maybe that's because I'm in the world of hypnosis where she knows how to be a gabber. Let's see. She says she doesn't, let me read this just right. She says, I don't just use the tools I've learned as a hypnotist with my clients, I use them for myself. Ooh, I'm going to ask her all about that. And when Penny's not busy inducing and emerging and in anesthesia and inducing and emerging hypnosis, she's pretty much the same thing as sleep. Okay, now I totally misread that, but that's okay. You don't have to be perfect to do this show. What she's talking about is that hypnosis and anesthesia are not sleep. And one last thing. If that wasn't enough, for fun, I have almost 500,000 wild, stingy, honey-producing ladies that I love to hang out with and relax. Relaxing with Bees. That sounds like a book or a movie, Relaxing with Bees. So now I'm going to welcome Penny Chiasson, CRNA, BCH, CFI. Oh, by the way, if you like the interview, you can learn more about her at www.genesishypnosisms.com. All right, Penny, how you doing today?
I am awesome, Cal. It is a pleasure to be here.
Awesome, glad to have you.
Wonderful, and I would just like to take a minute to tell everybody a little bit about you. You have to be one of the most foremost minds in hypnosis, developing and creator of the 5-path system, that wonderful systematic approach to neutralizing the emotional connections to the habits and the behaviors that people come in and they want to change. It gets to the heart of the issue. You've also shared with everyone your wonderful enlightenment and development of 7th Path Self Hypnosis, another transformational gift that you have given not only to your hypnotists out there, but to the thousands of people that they reach and touch. Also developing a wonderful hypnosis support system that you have available for people who have trained with you and those looking forward to training with you. You are a completely sharing and giving mentor, and I'd like to introduce you now, Cal Banyan.
Yay! Okay, yes. And so I'm excited to kind of find out more about what you do and what we're doing here. And let's start at the beginning. How did you happen to get interested in the profession of hypnosis?
It was kind of a happy accident in the end, I guess. I was working as a nurse anesthetist, and worked at a hospital where they had a Center for Healthcare Integration. And I noticed that when I saw patients who had used some sort of mind-body technique, or some of the patients use something called Peggy Huddleston's Prepare for Surgery, Heal Faster. So basically what you were doing is you were giving them suggestions as you induced anesthesia, and as they emerge from anesthesia, and as we all know, that's basically a hypnotic state, and those patients took less pain medication, less anesthesia. And as I started exploring pain management for healthcare professionals and putting together a little course for nurses, I came across the data on hypnosis, and it spurred a curiosity in me, and it was several years before I took my first course, but that's really how it all got started, curiosity.
Now, that's very interesting. So that kind of sparked your interest in hypnosis. Tell me, how did you go about researching, further training?
Well, initially, I was looking in the local magazines, like, for example, New Awakenings, those type of thing, and no one really had any credentials, and I'm a science-minded person, so at that point I still remained a skeptic. And then the AANA News Bulletin came out. That's the news bulletin for the Nurse Anesthesia Association. And Ron Esslinger had advertised his course in that magazine because I was able to get 40 anesthesia credits for it. So it was a win-win for me, and I went to learn more about hypnosis, and never realizing that class was going to change my life.
Awesome. Yeah. And Ron Esslinger has been a real force in the world of hypnosis when it comes to pain management. He's come to our center and trained 5 Pathers. I had tons and tons of respect for him. Now, so how did you go from Ron Esslinger to getting involved with me and 5 Path and that kind of thing?
Oh, it didn't take me but about a couple of months to find out about you, because being a logical and science-minded person, I would have a client come in and I would go through the first session and they would show up for the second session, and I would have my plan ready to go in my mind, and the client would come in and go, "Oh, but this," and I'm sitting there going, "Oh man, what now?" So I just dove into self-education on the internet, and I came across your videos, and I would binge those videos. And as I saw, you doing diagrams of, the age regression, the timeline, talking about informing child work, neutralizing the problem at the source of the cause, I started telling my husband, this is what I have to do. I can really help people with this technique. This is like real change. And it was probably about a year before I bought the DVD course for 5 Path 2.0. But once I did and I started using that technique, I packed my schedule.
Now, as a nurse anesthetist or any kind of healthcare professional, you just don't go in going, gosh, what am I going to do with this person? You have a system, a plan. When someone has been diagnosed, the purpose of diagnosis is because it indicates treatment, right?
Right.
And so that's the way, to me, we should be as hypnotists, is people who have a plan, that they know what they're going to do every step of the way, taking the client from where they are to where they want to be. Is that the way you saw it?
Right. I mean, there was always, based on what issue they came to you with, there was a logical next step. It wasn't up to me to figure it out. The client already had inside of them, whether they were consciously aware of it or not, they knew what the issue was. They knew what the problem was, and that systematic approach was just key. I mean, it's not written in stone. You have to be flexible and move with the process, but I mean, you still have that sense of knowing where to go. You don't have to be, feel like you're completely lost and, oh my God, I don't have a script for that, because you don't need a script. It comes from inside the client. They know everything that they need to know to be better. They know what they need to hear.
That's right. That's one of the big differences between a a properly trained, certified, experienced hypnotist, such as the 5-path hypnotist, and like a clinical psychologist. As a clinical psychologist has to have all the answers. They do the diagnosis and they do the testing and all this kind of stuff, and then they're supposed to know what you need to know. But the 5-pather has a system that helps reveal what's inside the client so that they can have the insights so that they can move forward and experience hypersuggestibility so they can accept suggestions congruent with the insights, A, that they just had, and B, the direction they want to go. Awesome. So speaking of all that stuff, have you experienced 5-path or 7-path yourself?
I have experienced 5-path and 7-path myself. The first time I experienced 5-path was in phone sessions with Celeste back in 2015, and that was just amazing to not crave chocolate anymore. I could actually walk past a bowl of Hershey's Kisses and not eat the whole thing. The second time I experienced 5-path was with you this previous February. We did the Zoom sessions together, and without getting too much, people don't want to hear my stuff, but I was kind of at a place in my life where I had some frustration I was dealing with, and that frustration, even though I knew what I needed to do to get my business off the ground and take off, that frustration was holding me back. I was finding excuses to not do what I needed to do, and it was just basically because I hadn't cleared my junk. And I call it junk. It was valuable experiences that I can look at now in retrospect. I can laugh and call it junk, but it was something that I had to go through to learn and grow from. And going through that process, after the third session, I was a completely different person. And that's just the only way I can say it. My mentality, my clarity of my vision, my purpose, which I knew I had before because it was revealed to me in 7th Path when I did the live Week of Power, the live Week of Power in 2015. I once again had that clarity and that purpose. But something else that I gained was this superpower, I guess that you would call it, that I know I am in control of my destiny. Sure, there may be slips and fits and starts along the way, but, with the help of Delta, I have everything that I need to move forward. And as long as I'm open to these experiences, and if I do have a misstep and I say, what can I learn from this to move forward, then I can build on that experience and be a better hypnotist, a better instructor, and I can better connect with my clients. And I think that more than anything is the one growth experience I've had over the last 2 to 3 years, and then doing the subsequent 5-path sessions with you.
And that was online using Zoom, and I am very happy with Zoom and the ability to do online sessions like that, because I'll in the morning I'll do a session here in my office, and then in the afternoon I might be doing a session with someone in Mississippi or the UK or Denmark or Asia or Australia. It's just amazing how in today's world, with today's internet and high-quality interactive software like Zoom, that we can do quality. When we had those sessions together, did you feel like doing online was a quality way of doing it?
I do believe that doing it online was a quality way of doing it. And, I know you, we had only met once in person before we did those sessions, but when you watch somebody on the internet all the time, you've seen the lectures, you've taken their class, you almost feel like you have some sort of a connection or a relationship there. And I believe that doing it by Zoom, it kind of probably lifted some of the inhibition I would have had to go to the places that I needed to go in those sessions. I really can't explain it, but that's, I just didn't feel like I would have held back as possibly I might have if I had driven out to Dallas and done the sessions.
And there's scientific proof to that. As a matter of fact, when I did my master's thesis way back in like 91, or maybe it was 89. Anyway, my master's thesis was on the use of hypnosis, not hypnosis, excuse me, erase, and it was the use of computers to separate individuals. One person would be at one terminal, another person would be at another terminal, because internet wasn't really big back then. We were doing terminal to terminal, and as a way of increasing self-disclosure. And one of the things as you get into the world of scientific research on self-disclosure is that when you are, face to face with someone a few feet apart, people are more inhibited about self-disclosure than if you can provide some distance. And so I believe that there is scientific validation that doing sessions through the internet may even be better than doing them face to face. All right. Hey, one thing. So you mentioned you met me before, and was that in class?
Well, I met you in class via live, but at the NGH 2 years ago. That was the first time we met face to face.
Was I friendly?
You were very friendly.
Okay. Someone was telling me, Cal, when people meet you, you're not that friendly. I think I'm pretty friendly. Let's see. I think what that individual was just trying to get me to be even more outgoing than I am. I don't know who could stand that. Anyway, and then we were in class.
Cal, you're very serious about what you teach, and a lot of people see you in class, and you take what you do seriously, and you hold yourself to a high standard, and you want those that you teach to hold themselves to a high standard as well and do their absolute best. So maybe that's a little bit where that comes in, but I think it's just seriousness. I don't think that it's not being that outgoing or friendly.
Cool. Hey, so speaking of class, what was that like being in class with me? And what class, was that 7-day or 10-day course?
It was the 7-day, and I did it live, and I felt like you were watching me in my office the whole time to see if I was paying attention to what you were teaching me. Going back to the comment that I just made. But it was really good. Even though it was distance, I feel like I got the same benefit out of the course as I would have sitting right there in the classroom. It was actually a very enriching and valuable experience.
What was it like bringing that information into your office with clients?
Being in the live class with the opportunity to ask questions and see other questions be asked, it brought in a lot of insight that I didn't get from the DVD set. Of course, you're limited in that capacity, and every class is different because all of the students' backgrounds and the questions that they have are going to be different. So each class brings to it, I'm sure, a certain experience. So it was just nice to be able to ask questions and get some of the nuance behind what was going on.
Awesome. So, and watching your classmates changing before your eyes, right? As I'm working with them and like with 7th teacher facilitation techniques and stuff. Was that cool or what?
That was my first experience with 7th Path, and to watch you facilitate with the students, that was just, it was amazing to see people's reactions. Some were open to it, some were not open to it. But once they allowed that process to happen, it was great to see the change in them, because we all came into this to be a hypnotist and to help people, or maybe for other little different reasons. But what I find is that most of us that go into the hypnosis profession, unless you're fortunate like Erica that has a business background, a computer background, many of us aren't entrepreneurs. So we have our own barriers in and of that we need to go overcome in that 7th Path process. Help people to peel back the layers and find their own confidence and their own motivation and purpose that's going to help guide them to push themselves to be the successful hypnotist in practice that they can.
Awesome. So that, as you're talking about Erica, I'm thinking about, what was your experience with our support system after graduation? Was it adequate?
It was. I actually started using the support system after the DVD set, before I even took the live course, and people are just overwhelmingly helpful. Now, we're all busy in practices. Sometimes we may not be able to get back to somebody within minutes or hours, but when that help comes, there's a wide variety of insights and experience, and it gives people a lot to think about and to draw from when they go back to see their client that they wrote in with the question about.
What are you finding is probably the most important support that we've given you so far as you're going, from classroom to clients and then to be a trainer?
Most important support, I say by far, is the materials that you offer, that we offer at the end of the course. I mean, that's a huge discount. And I understand, I remember sitting there looking at that package and talking to my husband and saying, I really don't want to lay this money out right now, but I'll never have this opportunity to get it at this price again. And this is years and years of knowledge that I can draw off of. Anytime I need something, I can just go to it. I will always have it. If I want to rewatch class, and he said, you know what? If you're going to reopen a hypnosis practice when we get to Mississippi, if you're going to continue to see clients and you know it's going to benefit you, do it. And so we made it happen. And I think by far, the support chat is great, the forum is great, but to know that you have all of that knowledge, information, perspective, insight, now it's just a few clicks away, because as long as you're a Path member in good standing, you can just go right to the website, log in, and you can stream it. You don't even have to have a DVD player or a CD player anymore. You guys have just gone above and beyond in this, and it's exciting to know that I'm a part of a team that is going to keep up with the times and keep this information available to people in a way that it's easy for them to use it.
Thank you. And you've written for our journal, the 5-Path Journal, International Association of Hypnosis Professionals, 5-Path articles by 5-Pathers for 5-Pathers. I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Hey, so let's see here. Tell me about, now you've been in the world of pain management for a long, long time, and you're a 5-Pather, a hypnotist. How are you integrating those two things together?
Yes, I am integrating those together. In my years as a nurse and then in anesthesia, it's apparent to anybody who spends any length of time taking care of people in a clinical setting that a person's attitude and outlook and even the circumstances of their life around them significantly impacts their ability to heal and to be comfortable. And a lot of people, say, oh no, you don't need to do 5-Path with pain management. And some people say, 5-Path with everybody. And I say it's kind of in the middle there. When you're dealing with the acute pain client, somebody who's going to be going in for surgery or they just came out of surgery, you're just kind of dealing with the here and now. The largest population of people that we're dealing with right now that have issues with chronic opiate use, chronic pain problems, the majority of those people, it's what is called a somatoform pain disorder. And for people not familiar with that term, it's a form of psychogenic pain, but somatoform pain comes from either repetitive use injury or stress-related injury, and it's simply muscle tension. And we all know when you talk about the stress diathesis hypothesis, when you talk about the internal stress and the external stress, we stimulate the autonomic nervous system. And what that autonomic nervous system does, it sends out chemicals that constrict down the blood vessels, and you decrease the blood flow to those muscles get tense, they get tight, and you develop chronic pain in those areas. And that's not the only type of chronic pain. We could really spend hours talking about this, but those are the people that 5-Path will help the most, because they have emotional stress from their past, emotional stress from the present, fears about the future, and all of that is feeding into their discomfort. And I just think that it's something that shouldn't be overlooked, dealing with that emotional component. And it could be something as simple as someone having anger over a trauma that they suffered that caused their pain. So there's a lot to explore, which is why I developed the course, so that rather than people having an outline for a session and a handful of scripts, they can understand these different types of pain, what is drawing off of the emotional component, and then understanding what the conscious attitudes and behaviors are, and trying to systematically approach a plan that you can customize to the client. But it does require the use of patter. I have found that the benefits form alone is usually not sufficient when you're dealing with pain. There are several different avenues that you can work at to disrupt the pain signaling aside from just the emotional aspect. But the emotional aspect is a huge component in the chronic pain population we're dealing with today.
Penny, can people find out more about your pain course? Now, this pain course is for already certified hypnotists, correct?
Yes, it is.
And can they get that information on GenesisHypnosisMS.com?
Yes, if they go to the section on courses, there is a link there for the Master Pain Management Hypnosis program, and I actually have a wait list. Right now, the course that I'm teaching are my founding members. They are actually helping me to provide the most well-rounded and robust course that I can, and I'm hoping to have the formal launch in November of the program.
Awesome. Who is that course for specifically?
It's for any certified hypnotist that wants to know more about how to use hypnosis in chronic pain management. While I don't specifically target it just to 5-pathers, I know there are other people out there that use other techniques and ways of dealing with the emotional discomfort. I go through the proper systematic approach that should be used in terms of dealing with the prior fears and misperceptions before moving on to forgiveness. And one of the common things that I see when I go through hypnosis boards is when people say, oh, there's a part of me that wants to do this, I don't like it. Rather than going for the cause of that, people want to jump right into parts work. And that's one of the misconceptions that I'm going to try and correct in this program, that you don't want to jump right into parts work. You have to deal with the stuff that came before that first. And also, a bonus in the program is really going to focus on what we teach and train in 5-path, is that importance of getting a hopeful somnambulistic client. Because even if you're doing direct suggestion for that phase 1, if you can get them in somnambulism, as we know, the deeper the level of hypnosis, the more open the subconscious mind is for us to make those changes, and the better that client is going to do. So the course is not just for 5-pathers. There will be some support in there, but it will not be teaching the primary tenets of the 5-path course.
Right. If they want to do 5-path, if they want to be certified, then they can take your certification course, either the 10-day or the 7-day, correct? Which is my course, but taught by you.
Right. And I've created a whole community for the students that take this pain management hypnosis course on Facebook. It's a private community. You can ask your questions there. People can pipe in with their different experiences. I'm in and out of there all the time asking questions. So it's a place that people can go just for that aspect of hypnosis and get answers.
Awesome. Hey, so now I'm going to ask you to talk about maybe an interesting case history or a client that you can share with everybody.
Sure, I would love to. And this is a client that I highlight in my program, and the reason why I'm talking about her is because she's given me permission to share her story. I first worked with her in 2014, just before I became 5-path certified. She was dealing with chronic pain at that time, but had not yet been diagnosed with what we call chronic regional pain syndrome. And we did 2 or 3 sessions together doing direct suggestion hypnosis. She did okay, but I was having difficulty getting at the cause, getting at the emotion that was driving her, because she had a lot of anger about the accident. She had anger about a surgeon who didn't listen to her and poo-pooed her. And even though she was somebody that was avoiding medications at all costs, he was just telling her it was all in her head. Well, fast forward to June of this year, she and I happened to reconnect, and she had gotten a third opinion and was diagnosed with chronic regional pain syndrome, which is one of the most difficult things to treat if it's not caught early. If it's diagnosed early, great, but most people don't recognize it when they see it, which is, I guess a bad mark on the medical community. But, people do the best that they can. And she and I started working together. We did some direct suggestion sessions. We're working via Zoom. She's in Connecticut. I'm here in Mississippi. And she acknowledged that yes, she realized there was an emotional component. She said, and I even feel like I'm using this as an excuse. So she never could find the time to set aside to do a really in-depth AR session right away. So we did a couple of direct suggestion sessions, and I started teaching her 7th path. Well, after the 3rd week of doing 7th path, oh my goodness, Cal, this was stirring up so much stuff in her life. She called me up. She goes, I've got to get rid of this. I will do whatever I have to do. I can't stand this. This is stuff I hadn't thought about in years. So we dove into the age regression, and she was just like, I'm floored. I had no idea that all of this was connected to that, but I can see it now. And she was relieved over that. But going through the shifts in perception, the next week she had a few little ups and downs, and then we started on the forgiveness work. And we did 2 double sessions for forgiveness. And she had so much rage inside of her that I had to guide her through putting the offender in the chair for 4 people, because her rage would get so intense she couldn't do it on her own. And then when we did forgiveness of self, she actually that's where she experienced her breakthrough. And we're still doing some direct suggestion, but where she was having severe pain 70 to 80% of the time, when she has a flare, she can catch it and calm it down. You can look at her and see she's so much healthier, she moves more. And she said that maybe about 30% of the time now she experiences discomfort. And it's not the severe discomfort. So this is a huge gain for her. And it has just opened up so many opportunities to her. And she is getting more aggressive in her physical therapy, which is how she's going to strengthen and get better. And the next session, I think I'm going to do a little AR and see if we need to do parts work, because she's still fixated on guarding that shoulder. There's some part of her that feels the need that she has to protect it. So we're going to do a little AR, we're going to dig a little deeper, and we're going to see if parts work is in order, which is something that's probably going to be fairly common when working with pain clients. So I'm looking to see how it turns out.
As you're talking about that, so many little notes I'm taking, and as the history of this is, as I'm not a person who's particularly interested in working with pain, but when I was working with clients for all their other issues, so many times people say, my headaches have gone away, or my shoulder pain has gone away, or my back pain has gone away. And that has shown me over and over again that there's an emotional component to these things. And even if it is not psychogenic, meaning it began from an emotional kind of thing, whenever there's chronic pain, there becomes an emotional component. And so 5-path can work parallel with any kind of pain management program. And what I especially like about what you're doing, Penny, is you are an excellent example of how 5-path, 5-phased advanced transformational hypnosis, is not a closed system. It is the fundamental underlying structure, but you can bring these other skills that you might have. If you're a pain management expert, or if you are a counselor, or if you are an NLP expert, you can take those skills and blend it in. And there's damn few pain management people out there, hypnotists, that have the depth of understanding that you have. And so you are going to be my go-to referral for anyone that is looking for someone to deal with pain management or pain elimination. Because if you had just stuck with direct suggestion hypnosis with her, you would have just been masking over the underlying cause. Am I right?
Exactly. And it probably would have manifested itself in another way, not any time recent, but over 10 years ago, she actually went through a period where she had dealt with depression, and she had actually had an outcry for help, which I'm not going to get into here. But I guess the pain was the way of her body dealing with all of this without having to go back down that road before. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because what happens also is that when we don't deal with the underlying cause, if we're able to mask or push down a particular symptom or behavior well enough, then it'll just manifest in another way. So being able to go in and take care of these things at the mental, physical, and emotional level is really the kind of balance true holistic work is all about. So now, Penny, with all of this, we're going to have to wrap up pretty soon because this has gone longer than I anticipated, but it's really been worth going longer. What kind of suggestions or advice do you have for either people who are thinking about coming into the hypnosis profession or already are and would like to be doing better?
For those looking to go into the hypnosis profession, I say, do your research. Look for an instructor that you feel like that you can connect with, but much more beyond that, you don't want to, I shouldn't say it like that. I think it's important to find someone that is going to be there to provide you support. Those of us that you have selected to be C5s, and it is a selection process, I believe, on your part, you're looking for people who have genuine interest in seeing people to learn and to do well. And that's the kind of instructor you want if you're going to be become a certified hypnotist. You don't want someone who's going to certify you and say, okay, you've got your certificate, thanks a lot, one of my grads, bye. That's not what you get here. And so whoever you go with, you want to make sure that you're going to have that support. But in my opinion, and I guess I'm biased, we have the best support that's out there. Now, someone who's already a hypnotist and they're looking to elevate their practice, I can tell you that 5-Path transformed my practice because it can be integrated with other modalities and you can really affect permanent change for people, and to just see the looks on their face when they get an insight and they're like, wow, you know what, I really am worth it. Why didn't I think I was worth it before? Like, I don't understand. I really am good. Those are the kinds of things that you see in clients every day in your practice. They are just blown away by the change that they get. So I recommend 5-Path.
Beautiful. Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Exactly. Like I said, I'm a little biased.
Well, we're going to have to save your chance to ask me questions for maybe another video sometime because, gosh, we're like over 30 minutes, 35 minutes on this one. Just in your own summary, wrap it up, and then I'll wrap it up. And I want to encourage people to realize that on 5path.com, we have a list of all of our trainers. Just click on the navigation bar. There's one that says hypnosis training. You click there and you can get a link to all the different trainers we have, be it like Lebanon or Singapore or Denmark or Canada or any place in the United States, Washington, Mississippi, Pennsylvania, all these different places, because not everybody can fly in to see me, and I understand that. And I would encourage you to check these other people out. If you think you'd be interested in a trainer that's near you, give them a call, talk to them, because when you talk to people, you get an idea. Gosh, is this person right for me? So go ahead, wrap it up with whatever you feel like I might have left out, and then we'll see you later.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for watching this opportunity to share with you just the advantages of 5-Path and 7th Path. And it's really a great system to work with. You can integrate it with other modalities. I find it very effective with pain management, and right now, if you want to get in on that wave, now is the time to start working with chronic pain patients. People need us more than ever, and it's a great community out there to support you, and we all have Cal, and not just Cal, but his support system behind him, Maureen, to thank for all of our success out there. So if you are a 5-Pather or become a 5-Pather, it's not just you alone, you have all of us.
All right, thank you, Penny, for wrapping that up and for taking the time to get on this video. Now let me talk to you folks out there. Thank you. I want to encourage you to check out all my videos. They're free. Just go to calbanyan.com, click on the big red arrow, and it'll take you over to my video place. You get to watch 2, 3, 4 of them. And then if it's for you, go ahead and subscribe. And then every week, I'll send you out a notification when a new video comes out. And probably the most important thing is I give you a link to where you can go to a page that has every single video. At this point, we're over 500 videos. If you watch this 2 years from now, it'll probably be 600 or 700 videos listed by title. And each one of those titles is a link to that video. So it's just going to keep growing, keep growing. And that's what it's about. It's about folks like Penny, who is an example of a really, truly professional hypnotist, and myself and the others that have been on the podcast, that of how we can lift the profession when we work together. And we've really focused on, for Penny, the pain management and pain elimination, but really she works with all kinds of issues, just like any other five-pather. Five-pathers can specialize, but generally five-pathers are generalists, because five-path and seven-path self-hypnosis is a universal approach to just about everything that could walk into your room. All right, into your office. All right, that's it. I think that's, I have classes coming up. I have one in October, and let me look at the calendar in front of me. There it is, October 1st through the 12th, with the weekend off in the middle. So yes, I want to see you in class. Also, I have a week of power coming up. My entire training schedule can always be found on calbanyan.com. All right, that's it. Thanks for everybody for being on the video. I'll probably have this out in a couple weeks. Right now I'm in Denmark. I'm talking. Wasn't that cool? But this will be delayed a little bit. All right, that's it. Cal Banyan signing off. This recording is the property of Cal Banyan and the Banyan Hypnosis Center for Training and Services, Incorporated. All rights reserved, for private use only, may not be duplicated without permission. For contact information, go to www.hypnosiscenter.com.